Hello ladies and gentlemen, video game viewer here bringing you the review of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I was a huge fan of Ghost Recon Wildlands when it initially came out, and naturally I was excited to find out that it was getting a sequel with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I was a little skeptical when I heard that they were going to add drones as a feature in Ghost Recon Breakpoint, but I put the game through its paces, and these are my thoughts. Story's up first, guys. I'll give you a basic rundown of the story. Story is pretty basic at its core, nothing we haven't seen before. You are sent to the island of Aroa to investigate a military takeover after one of your naval ships has been sunk off the coast. Once you get to the island, you and all of your team are immediately attacked and pretty much killed, you barely making it out, and you are tasked, along with the remaining ghosts, to stop this military regime that has taken over the drones and the island. You're not top dog anymore, though. You no longer have the backup of the CIA or the U.S. military. You are on your own. You are going to have to use the land to survive. Water, food, resources, everything has to be scavenged from the land. This sounds great on paper, and I was really excited for this feature. Unfortunately, it doesn't play out that way. I'll explain why. Well, the addition of the canteen and the resource gathering is in the game, and you can bandage yourself up. I never found myself having to do any of this stuff. Your stamina regenerates incredibly fast, and that's kind of the point of the canteen, is to drink the water to regenerate your stamina. Other such features in the game pretty much are the same way. They're an afterthought. You don't really have to do them. They're kind of meaningless. They're there, but they're kind of bare bones and not really put together. And that was really what got me excited about this game, was the survival element. I want to move on to graphics. As you can see here in the background, I'm doing my character creation. The character models in this game look absolutely horrific, and that's really saying something, considering in Ghost Recon Wildlands we got a much better character creation than what we have here. You would think they would have progressed forward and it would have been better, but instead it seems like they took a step backwards in this department. Speaking about graphics, there are a few other things that I'd like to mention. Texture pop-in is a huge deal in this game. I saw all kinds of texture pop-in: trees, grass, people's faces looking like muddy pallets, and then all of a sudden somehow magically snapping into what they should be looking like. Frame rate issues abound in this game. Running around, I've had it dip so low that I thought my PlayStation crashed. The game can have stunning scenery at times, and that's one of this game's strong suits. When it comes to scenery and locations, this game absolutely takes my breath away. There were multiple times in the game where I found myself just cresting a hill to watch the sun come up over a mountaintop, and it looked absolutely beautiful. If there's one thing this game did right, it's definitely the scenery and the feel of the world. Unfortunately, for everything this game seems to do right, it seems to do two other things wrong. Well, the island of Aroa looks absolutely stunning. It is devoid of life. Sure, you'll see the fauna and flora in the game, plants, wildlife, deer, pigs, all that running around. Enemies are around every corner, and when I say that, I mean quite literally around every corner. Every 100 feet you're going to be running into enemies, and I get kind of why they did this. They did it because, well, at its core, this game is now a looter shooter, and, you know, to gain loot, you have to kill enemies. So therefore, they put an abundance, an overabundance of enemies in the game, so you can level up your character and gain gear. Unfortunately, the world is devoid of any other type of life. Unlike in Wildlands, where the cities felt fleshed out, there were non-combative NPCs running around, cars driving on the roads, you will literally see almost no one in any of the towns or cities in this game other than enemies. And that's a big deal. You notice when you're driving around how devoid the island is of life. And it would have been nice if they would have fleshed out the island a little bit more. I would have liked to see that, but unfortunately it's just not there, and it really makes an impact.
How's your pal? Holding up. Thanks for looking after him. You heard anything about a Lieutenant Colonel Walker?
Now, if you notice there, I let the audio to the game play, and you can see that the audio track to the game actually skipped. This is unforgivable. This is a finished product that we paid $60 for, and the audio in the game isn't even finished. It is buggy as hell. And I get that they can update it and fix it with a patch, but we should not have to wait for a patch for a complete game. It seems like the industry lately has kind of gone downhill. It's rush a game out now and then patch it later. and I just don't know if that's a good direction that I want to see my hard-earned money go towards. As a consumer, I want a finished product when I buy it. One thing that Ghost Recon Breakpoint does seem to get right is the audio score. As you're laying in the tall grass with your camouflage, as the enemy searches for you and stalks you, you get this orchestra swell of music that really helps to build the tension in the game. I really enjoyed the musical score in this, and they did that department. One thing I do want to mention, though, is the enemy AI. I have a clip coming up, and I'm going to let the clip play without me talking over it, just so you can see how stupid the AI is. I just want you guys to know that that clip that I just showed you was on extreme difficulty. And we were promised that the AI would be much improved over Wildlands in this game. Yet, it doesn't really seem that way. Now sure, the AI is tougher and will kill you a lot faster and can detect you a lot quicker, but smarter, I wouldn't say they are smarter. Hunting you down is not their strong suit, and the enemies in Breakpoint can easily be avoided. In fact, it's almost to the point where it kind of ruins the stealth aspect of the game. There's not a whole lot of reason to play tactical in this. The AI is just too stupid. You can get around them without much trouble. There's a lot of things that Ghost Recon Breakpoint promised us. Improved gameplay, an intriguing story, better graphics, and I'm not saying that they didn't deliver on all fronts, but for the most part, this is not the game we were promised, guys. The medical system that they promised us, where we're going to be bandaging wounds and carrying our teammates to safety so we can bandage them up. It's there, but it's very bare bones. The survival element of being stuck on an island by yourself, behind enemy lines, lone wolf, gave way to a Destiny-style social hub where people are doing Fortnite-style dances with emoticons. And it really just detracts from the feel and the seriousness of the situation you find yourself in. Now, don't get me wrong, Breakpoint has its moments of fun, and I am enjoying my time with the game, but it is not what we were promised. I want this gritty, lone wolf style, behind enemy lines storyline, and that's just not what I got. Instead, what we got is like Ghost Recon Wildlands went and met the Division 2 and had a sloppy drunken one night stand, and out of it came the bastard love child, which is Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now, one game mode that does carry over from Wildlands is Ghost War, and I found myself actually really enjoying Ghost War in Wildlands when it finally did come out. If you remember, we had quite a wait for PvP when Wildlands came out. In Breakpoint, it's right there for us from the beginning, and it's fairly good. It's well put together. It's not a COD killer or a Battlefield killer, but it is there and it does help tickle your multiplayer fancy. Another added feature to Breakpoint, which is new, is raids. I don't know how I really feel about this. I have not gotten to do a raid yet. You have to have a armor level of 150 or higher to be able to go into raids. I am not there yet, but again, it just feels so Division-y, and it doesn't feel like that tactical military shooter that Wildlands was. And I know I keep bringing up Wildlands, but I have to say, Wildlands was just a better game. It just was. It was more of a tactical shooter than this is. I did enjoy the many HUD features they offered, from options to completely let the game hold your hand all the way to letting you actually have to use clues in dialogue and items found to guide you to your next objective like some kind of super soldier Batman. My final thoughts on Ghost Recon Breakpoint. If you came looking for a hardcore tactical shooter, you won't find it here, but that's not to say there's no fun to be had. It's not a game without issues, and could use an update to fix not only the audio and video issues, but to also flesh out the world with more non-combative NPCs, to breathe life into the environment around you. Overall, I'd give the game a 7 out of 10. If you're a fan of Wildlands or The Division, or are just looking for a fun time with friends, you'll find it here, as long as you don't take the game too seriously. Overall, Breakpoint is an average game. That's not good or bad, but somewhere in the middle. With that said, you may want to hold off on getting this title until it goes on sale. Thanks for watching this review. Before you go, headshot that like button and quickscope that subscribe button. I'll catch you all in the next one. Video Game Viewer, out. One thing that I found that did improve was the Ghost War mode. I was a fan of the Ghost War mode in Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I am admittedly, I'm going to sneeze. God bless me.